Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and tonight we're on the red carpet at the New York premiere of Spotlight. We'll be bringing you interviews with the cast and the directors, so get ready for a great night behind the velvet rope. Mark Ruffalo, first of all, congratulations on such an incredibly powerful movie.
Thank
What
you.
drew you to telling this story?
The script and the story itself. It's just an important story, and it's coming out at a time where I think culturally we're ready to really have this conversation. I think the church is, with this new pope, is in a place that maybe they can start to right some of the wrongs that were committed here. I mean, it's a story about rape of children and the massive cover-up by the Catholic Church all the way up to the Vatican, and we don't know how long this has been going on, but there's been no justice. And so when I read that and I project myself into where the world's going to be 2 years after we shoot it, it felt like the right place to be at the right time, and I was lucky to be there.
It's hard to believe it even happened, and it's probably still happening today. It's crazy.
I don't think it's hard to believe it happened. It's been going on for centuries. Not to correct you, but I'm afraid
No,
I
you're
must.
right, though.
It has, and although that's in no way a condemnation of every priest or every Catholic or every bishop or the Catholic Church as a whole, it's a condemnation of a systemic issue perpetrated by a large number of people within that institution. So the fact that the Boston Globe broke the story, the fact that this movie is highlighting it once again, I think is really important.
You've done everything in your career. What specifically drew you to this story to jump into it?
Well, the story itself was incredible to me, and I think it was a necessary film to make, but also I was very attracted to the way it was being told, and also that Tom was going to tell it, because I'm a big fan of Tom's.
What was it about the story that drove you to want to tell it?
Well, just being a part of anything that's ambitious like this is like the best that you can all offer an actor, whether it's ambitious storytelling, whether it's ambitious in its style, and this was telling something that could really help people. So for me, that was like one chance in a million. It was Michael Keaton and Tom and Mark Ruffalo, so I was lucky as I could be.
You know, when you think of a journalist-driven movie, it's not meant to be exciting, but yet this one really flows. Why does this movie flow the way it does?
Well, I think it is, the watchword for Josh and Tom was also always authenticity. And they made the very distinct decision of just letting the process be, and the truth of the process be the story. And so I always have believed that, especially in film, it's always interesting to watch someone who's an expert at what they do their job, whether it's making a watch or being an extraordinary athlete. To see someone do something that you could never do and watch how that is done is always riveting. And in this case, you're watching what is seemingly a very relentless and unsexy job of calling people, vetting a story, on the computer, on the phone. But the result of the story is undeniable. And so I think just being true to what these people did and do, and how they did it is really the motor that runs this movie.
The incredible thing about the story is the complicity of silence that went on, not just with the church, but the cops, and how much you see what was going on in the community and in Boston. As you dug into it, did it surprise you to even see how deep it ran?
Well, it did, in the fact that, look, a problem this big, and it is a big crisis, as we now know, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. People have to know. And so we raise those questions in the movie. We don't provide answers. We really just raise questions that deal with sort of societal complicity and deference. And look, at the end of the day, this is just a really compelling story and a very entertaining one for that reason. It's interesting subject matter.
Did it blow your mind? Because watching this, you almost think something like this couldn't happen in a major metropolitan city, and yet it happened. When writing this story, did it still seem like, holy cow, I can't believe this really happened?
I mean, yeah, and holy cow, I can't believe it's probably still happening in a lot of
Right.
places. And I think, I think the scale and scope of it is pretty enormous. But even within that community, just the scale and the scope. And watching, I think we had the great good fortune of spending a lot of time with these reporters. And really, because that was really the only way to get at the story. And we went back to them time and time again. And they would always talk about how it felt like at first they were opening a box, and then they realized, no, it's a closet. And then they realized, no, it's a room. And then they realized, no, it's a warehouse. Right? That's the way the story unfolded for them. And I think to us, it's not only that in terms of how many, the numbers, and the system of the church, but also how it encompassed the entire city of Boston. And that, I think, is the thing that is the real tragedy and the thing to really think about.
You lived it. So
I lived it. I've been living it.
Talk to me about, first of all, seeing it on screen, and it's just such an incredible and powerful story.
Yeah, it is very powerful, and I'm glad to hear that you say that. It's very hard for me to be objective because I did live it. I've been living it since 1992. I had some input in the script, and but it's mostly a sense of, it's really a sense of joy and celebration and accomplishment that the thing actually got made and is out there and is going to be seen around the world. I mean, how cool is that?